Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird, welcome to Meet the Press. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So you are both trailblazers, you're both icons, from World Cups to Olympic gold medals, a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Megan and Sue, of course, countless WNBA championships. You're now both retired. Megan, talk about that decision. How did you arrive at the decision that it was time to step away?
I think the decision arrived at me, to be honest. I mean, I was 38 at the time. The World Cup in 2023, which I was able to participate in, kind of felt like a good ending moment. I was tired. I was ready. I had seen her also go through it the year before and then seen what retirement was looking like for her. I was getting jealous. It was looking nice, having all that time off, you know, do what you want. But I feel like it was just time. I was ready. I feel like I'd played so long and, you know, done everything I had wanted to, and, you know, so much more I couldn't even imagine if I was little, telling myself the story of what it was all going to be like. And it just felt like I'm good and I'm done here.
Sue, how did you arrive at the decision? How hard was it?
I think similar to Megan, it just kind of showed itself. And because I played so long, I'd actually seen a lot of friends go through their retirement process, some teammates even. So I saw it firsthand, and they all said the same thing, was just, you'll know. And honestly, I swear I woke up one day and I just knew. I just knew, and it was really that simple. And when I looked back on previous years, it was like, oh, I didn't know, which meant I wasn't done. And I think for both of us, we really got the most out of it. I always say, I'm like, I milked it. So I don't have any regrets. So retirement became more of a celebration than anything.
That's so wonderful. What is it like to be retired and to be able to share that with each other? Do you have moments of looking at each other and saying, we kind of miss it today. We wish we could go back for a moment in time?
Yeah, if we could go back to particular moments and be in our prime, we would do it all the time.
Gold medal games, finals.
It takes a lot of work to get to those moments. I think it's more like, yeah, you miss the locker rooms, you miss the camaraderie, your teammates, the bus rides, you miss those, you know, incredible moments. But we also got so many moments back, whether that's just us having time together, time with family, being able to make our own decisions. So it's a little bit of both, but forever, if you could plop us in a championship game in our prime, I'm like, sign me up, which
Sue,
you can't.
Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, as Megan said, it's like so much goes into getting to that final moment, getting to that gold medal game, getting to the finals. And I think both of us we just didn't have that left. There was nothing left in the tank for that. But yeah, playoff games, I always get a little more juiced. But it is nice to be able to make your own schedule. The times I think we miss it is more so in that schedule making, because our lives were really regimented. And we did that for a really long time. My dad likes to say we were just in like extended kindergarten for 20, 30 years, which is fine.
Kindergarten's awesome.
Yeah, kindergarten's great.
Kindergarten's
awesome. Great. Give me a Band-Aid for my boo-boo.
It was that regimented.
Yeah. I mean, you're just mentally.
Yeah.
It might not even be about where you need to be and what time you need to be there, but there is just this constant conversation about what you need to do to be ready. Maybe it's for practice, maybe it's a game, maybe it's a tournament, whatever it is. So letting go of that has been nice, but replacing it has probably been the biggest challenge.
You've both been so celebrated, and then recently your number was retired by the Seattle Reign, and you have a street named after you in Seattle. Sue, what are those moments like? What was that recognition like for you?
So those are powerful. They're powerful, they're meaningful. I think where I've landed with it is, you know, you play the game, maybe you set some records, you win some championships, and yes, the memories always stay, but there's always another athlete that comes and, you know, breaks one of your records, or, you know, maybe wins more gold medals. And then you start to realize, okay, so what's this other impact that I've had? And I think when you're honored in a way of a jersey retirement, in the case for me with the street being named after me, those last forever. And that really, I think, is an indicator of your legacy. And more than that, it's a see it, be it moment for a young girl out there, right? We've actually changed the world in that way, because I didn't have athletes that had jerseys retired or streets named after them to be like, I want to try to do that one day. And now there's a younger generation that can see us and see what we've achieved and try to do that.
You use that word legacy, which is so powerful. Megan, what do you think your legacy is and will be?
Oh, that's a question I think for other people to answer, but
what do you hope it will be?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Sue said, we came up in a time where our leagues were growing. I mean, Sue played 21 years for the Storm, and the league is 26 or 27 years old. I played, 11 years for the Reign, and those were the first 11 years of that team. And so I think part of the legacy is, growing our individual teams, growing the sport, to think about where the sport is now for a Trinity Rodman versus where it was for me when I was growing is massively different. And there's a million people that are involved in that, but to have our little fingerprints on it in some way, I think when I think about legacy, I think of, seeing more like openly gay people in the stands and families, and like seeing Black Lives Matter flags in the stands, and like seeing groundbreaking CBAs and seeing equal pay, like seeing the team continue to win, which has always been the legacy, which is the legacy that I picked up from other people. So I think it's just that we were part of this early stage and this like really foundational building block in women's sports, and our fingerprints are all over that. And like now these players get to just take it to a whole new level and, blow us out of the water. And I feel like that's exciting for us and like meaningful for us, of like we built something that was sturdy to stand on, and now they're flying.
Well, and I want to talk about where we are with women's sports for sure, because both of you had so much to do with that. But before we move on, Sue, how do you see your legacy?
Usually my go-to answer is they don't ask people this question unless they already did it. Right? You already did something right if you're getting asked what you think your legacy is. But it is very similar to what Megan said. I didn't have a lot of female athletes to look up to when I was growing up. And so the fact that I have played the sport in a way that allows for that, the fact that I'm actually not part of the like OG first generation of WNBA players. I came into the league when it was in its 5th year. So when I think of the OGs, I'm like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, right? Like the first 3 players signed. I consider myself this next generation, and there is a little bit of a baton that gets passed, but you also have to push it a little further, right? Like they did what they could, and then when my generation came along, we had to do what we could. And I think more recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, you're really seeing the impact of that. And I feel like my fingerprints are all over it. I look at something like our CBA, the WNBA's last CBA. I know I played a role in that, and what's that going to do? Set the next generation up. So I think my legacy is somewhere in there.
So let's talk about where we are in women's sports, because in some ways, as you're saying, this is a very different moment than when you both started playing. The women's NCAA basketball tournament had more viewers than men's this year. Women made up 50% of Team USA for the first time in Olympic history. Megan, when you think about those numbers, what does that say about where we are as a country?
Well, you always say this, but everybody's catching up, right? Everybody knows now what we've known for a long time. Like when Sue played in the Final Four, her stadium was sold out. And like that was already happening then. The U.S. women's national team been winning gold medals for a long time. U.S. women in the Olympics have dominated for a very long time, and now you're seeing the investment match the quality and the ability of the players. You're seeing the investment match the appetite that the fans have and the demand from the fans. The demand from the fans has been there the whole time. Things haven't been available, whether that's on streaming or whether that's on TV or whatever it may be. And I think this moment is like, I feel like we just came to the end of all the excuses of why nobody likes women's sports, and it turns out everybody watches women's sports. Everybody likes it. Everybody's into it. Turns out, oh, we're really good at sports. We're really entertaining. We're actually really amazing off the court. We care about our teammates. We care about our community. We care about politics. We care about making the world a better place, and it's an incredibly desirable product for people to watch, for players to play in, for sponsors to sponsor, for people to put on TV. So it's like, we always just feel like we've been knowing this is ready, and I feel like everyone else is now ready for that.
And you talk about the baton that has been passed, and I think about other stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, these women who are now, like the two of you,
superstars,
in the spotlight, and
yeah.
superstars,
Yeah,
and
superstars.
just at the top of their game. When you see what they are doing, but also that bright spotlight. I wonder what you would say to them, what you have said to them about how to both be focused on your sport and your craft, but also manage all of that pressure, which is a lot.
Yeah, it's really fun, rewarding, and also interesting to watch these younger athletes step into their professional careers. Obviously, Caitlin and Angel are two great examples. What I see immediately, and I think some of this has to do with NIL in college, right? Like so much earlier, these athletes are thinking about themselves as businesses, as brands. And it's amazing because they're carrying that with them to the WNBA, and so everything's just bigger. They just seem so much more self-aware in that way, in a business sense, than I ever was at that age. I would say that you ever were, because that just wasn't our worlds, right? But now they're in that world. And so my only advice is usually just to make sure they keep basketball the main thing, because at the end of the day, that is your vehicle. It's your vehicle to, Angel Reese has a podcast. It's her vehicle to be a podcaster, right? Whatever Caitlin ends up doing, it's the vehicle to get you to that point. So you always want to make sure that part doesn't fall off. And I think now we're experiencing it a little bit in retirement. We experienced it towards the end of our careers. It's a balance. You have to find that balance. But when you look at some of the other athletes, particularly men, who've set a little bit of a blueprint in terms of the business and the sport, you never see LeBron miss a workout. And that's just something we did at the end of our career, find that balance. And I would just always want to encourage younger people to make sure they find that balance.
So staying true to the core of what you're doing, to your passion.
The main thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Megan, you of course have experienced the highest of high praise. You've also experienced scrutiny. I'm thinking about when you joined other athletes in taking a knee to protest various things, including racial injustice. How do you cope with that? And I'm going to talk about your advocacy, but if some of these younger athletes decide to become more outspoken, how should they deal with that level of spotlight and stress and scrutiny?
I think for me, it's always been like distilling it down to like, what do I believe? What do I want for myself as a woman, as a gay woman? What do I want? You know, what areas do I want to be an ally? Like ultimately, what do I want to believe in and what do I believe in? Not to say that those things don't have outside consequences, but I think if you can, sleep at the end of the day, you're in a good spot. I think educate yourself. Like be able, people always, say to me, or my teammates would say to me like, oh, you're so good, like just spur of the moment when the microphone's in your face. And I'm like, yes, and also like I know what I want to say. I am up on the topics, like I read up and I'm like ready for those moments. Have a great team around you. Have great people around you. Obviously I have a big family who I always joke give me unsolicited advice all the time, but they will hit my line. But that like keeps me just tethered to reality and like tethered to a sense of groundedness, having Sue, having the people that I work with, like keep like reality really close to you.
Did it ever distract you from the game? Having scrutiny and criticism? Something that everyone in the public eye deals with and deals with differently.
Yeah, certainly. There's times when it was much harder than when, everyone was praising me. Obviously having, people say nasty things about you or doing something controversial. There was times I was left out of the national team when I knelt with Colin. There was moments that were really difficult, but like you said, it is like keeping the main thing. I think being an athlete and being at that high level, you sort of learn to, you could call it dissociation, you call it compartmentalization, or you can call it focus, call it whatever you want, but like you got to put it down sometimes. When I go to practice, like that's what I was going to do. When I go to a game, that's what I was going to do. But I think for me also, like I was never just a soccer player. I never felt like that. I always wanted, I don't get to walk outside and just, be one thing. I'm always multiple things at one time, as are many people. So I feel like that was okay for me. I didn't feel like if I, talked about racial justice or talked about equal pay, that was taking something away from my soccer. I actually feel like that added to it. So know that you can expand yourself and you can educate yourself and you can still do the thing that you love and be focused.
Take me back to the beginning of when you first started your advocacy. What is it, organic, Was it an intentional decision, and were you afraid to expand your role as someone who's, yes, an incredible athlete, but someone who also has things to say?
I think it really started with coming out, and that was really organic, sort of coming out publicly. I was kind of like out before, but as the rise in media, it was like 2011, 12, leading into the London Olympics. I wasn't out the year before, and I was just kind of like, this is starting to feel weird. Like, it's starting to feel weird that I'm not. I feel like I'm like omitting things, and that's just awkward. So I think the moment of coming out felt really organic, and just the support that I got and the way that people said that it touched them or made it easier for them, like I started to really understand the interconnectedness of it all. And then I think kneeling was really the next big thing. Like, I think in that moment it kind of dawned on me, like, I've been asking people for allyship, and I don't like need you to be gay, but I need you to be okay with me being gay. And it's not the same thing as racial justice and race relations, but I was kind of like, I understand what Colin's saying. Colin is asking people to believe him and to believe Black people. And so you either don't believe them and you're just willing to like call lies on everything, or you're like, okay, I can show up for you in that way. And I think those are the questions I ask myself, not am I scared or not, am I worried about like what people are going to say or not, more like, do I believe Colin? Like, did people believe me? Do I believe in equal pay? Do I believe those things? Like, I think about more who I'm speaking with and on behalf of than who I'm speaking to. And I feel like it kind of cuts some of the scariness out. Now, it happens, obviously, and there's a lot of things that I've said and done that some people don't think are very popular, but there's also a lot of people that really loved it and appreciated it and, like, you know, found a sort of camaraderie. And so.
So what about you? When did you first realize you had something to say? You obviously are a powerful advocate for racial justice, social justice, and a range of different issues.
Yeah, for me, it came around the same time in 2016. Megan and I had actually just met when she took a knee, and really one of the first things that we connected on was in the DMs, but not that way. And seriously, the WNBA in this moment, the Minnesota Lynx had worn T-shirts to their game with Black Lives Matter. It was when Philando Castile, I believe, in Minnesota, had been murdered. And so they were bringing attention to the police brutality. And this was right before the Olympics. And both of our teams, obviously, were going to the Olympics. Other WNBA teams started following the Minnesota Lynx. And Megan hit me up and was like, hey, is there something our teams can do? So that's a memorable moment for me. And I think in that summer, what I realized was, speaking on that topic of belief, like, do you believe people? So obviously I'm white and I play basketball, which is a majority Black sport. So I've actually had, for lack of a better, this front row seat to a lot of my teammates, a lot of their conversations, a lot of their lives, from as young as middle school through high school and so on and so forth. And so in this moment I realized, wow, like, A, I do believe. B, I can sense like all of the disbelief in this country. Meanwhile, I'm hearing these stories. I'm talking to families, I'm hearing their stories, my teammates' families. So I just understood in that moment there was a responsibility, but also there was some power in a white person in this group of people, being able to both use their voice in a different way, but also being able to be an ally, being behind closed doors, while still using their influence in that way as well. So kind of finding that balance, and that's where I feel like my advocacy lives.
We have seen the impact of speaking out. Obviously, you think about your fight for fair pay. When you look forward, Megan, where do you hope your advocacy leads? What do you hope to accomplish as you look forward at this moment?
I think just continuing to prioritize and carve out space for people to be their full selves, whether that is on the playing field, in a job, in your body, having agency over your body, you know, little trans kids being able to play sports when they're like 8 years old. They just want to play with their friends. I think for me, I know how important it is for me and how much I need and want the space to be my full self. And I want to extend that to other people. Obviously, we have these big platforms and this influence. We get to come on things like Meet the Press. So it's like I want to let people know being yourself and being your whole self like is the goal for everybody. And of course, you need to have, you know, elected public officials and leaders to do that. You need businesses to care about it. You need sports leagues to care about it. You need school boards and teachers and principals to care about that. So I feel like at the very center of it is just this human need to be seen and be loved and be able to be who you are.
Well, and of course, sports is a business as well. Last year, Deloitte forecasted that 2024 would be the first year that revenue for women's elite sports would surpass $1 billion, which is a significant and huge milestone, Sue. But where do you put it in the arc of what you are hoping to accomplish? Obviously, there has been so much progress in part because of the advocacy of people like Megan, but does more need to be done, and what more needs to be done?
Yeah, so I think from the athlete side, the league side, like that side of things, we're doing the right things. Mm-hmm. We're saying the right things, the athletes, the product. And I mean, look at the Olympics with women's athletes, right? Like athletes are doing their part. What I would love to see change, and Megan and I talk about this all the time, is a lot of times we're not looked at based on our potential, right? Whether it's a young athlete, somebody who has already accomplished a lot, it's never like, oh, let me invest in this and see what happens in 5 to 10 years because I see something. It's always, okay, what have you done, and do you deserve to be paid now based on what you did do, but never looking to the future. And that has been really, really frustrating. I think it has held back women's sports in so many ways. We often talk about how we've been looked at as a charity, something that someone will throw money at one time, but not as an investment. So it's wonderful to see that that's changing. But now I would challenge, you know, corporate sponsorships, so companies, businesses, TV networks, to start looking at us based on our potential, what they think is going to happen, not, well, let's wait and see in a couple years to see if this is real. Like, none of that.
This is such a fundamental and critical issue. I mean, what is your message, if you could speak to lawmakers, to people who have the ability to change things, not just in sports, but across all industries? What's the message to them about the topic of equal pay?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, I think in so many ways, I would love for people to just believe in it, and that would be reflected in the policies that they craft up, but that's obviously not the case, and it's been very entrenched. So like, you need to double back and make policies that account for not only the lack of investment and the underinvestment and the, you know, the just, yeah, the sort of just like total underinvestment in so many ways, account for that, but also strategies moving forward. Like, we have to have that. You have to codify those things. Those have to be in policy. Like, we're not just gonna all of a sudden wake up one day and like it's all gonna be good and we're gonna invest equally. So whether that is like equal investment from cities that invest in men's teams, it's like people don't really think about it, but public investment in men's teams is in, at this point, likely the hundreds of billions. We're talking stadiums, practice facilities, investment around like building, you know, the kind of like restaurants and the scene around the stadiums. Like, a lot of that is done with public money. Show me the area where billions of dollars have been invested into women's sports, women, young girls, education, any of that. So like, I think from a holistic perspective, there's so much we need to do, but like, we need to do it in so many ways, like through the law. We need to codify it. It needs to be in policy, because it's not just gonna happen. Like, that, people don't just give power up, ever. Like, literally ever, and they certainly don't give money away.
So this is a fight, an advocacy fight that continues very much.
Absolutely.
In your retirement.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would add to what Megan said is just, sometimes I want to look at people, you know, we've already stated all the facts, right? The underinvestment, and yet here we still are, right? Kind of ignored us for a really long time, and we still thrived. We still were able to do it without the investment. Sometimes I want to look at, again, whether it's people trying to invest or lawmakers, and be like, don't you want to look like a genius? Like, this is how you can look like, invest now, get on board now, help this grow now. And you could literally look like a genius. And I just, sometimes it's difficult for me to see how people don't see that.
I want to talk about your podcast, which you launched originally during COVID.
Yeah.
You're relaunching it. a touch more. Sue, what do you hope people will learn or take from this podcast, and why was it important for you to continue it as you are now in this phase?
Yeah, I think what I'm hoping is we try to have fun. We have some more serious conversations, always in the world of women's sports, but sometimes things that are adjacent to it. Obviously politics, we talk about culture, fashion, all the things that like bump into women's sports. But I definitely think it's on the lighter side. It's fun. We like to talk about our relationship. So there's all kind of little nuggets for everybody. I think for me, what I'm realizing is there is this ecosystem of coverage that happens in sports. And for a while, in the last year, let's say, as that has increased, particularly in women's basketball, we've seen a lot of bad takes. We've seen a lot of untruths. We've seen a lot of sometimes just hot takes.
About women's sports. People talking about women's sports and mischaracterizing what's happening.
Yes, and people who don't know it. And what I've realized is, okay, that kind of sadly exists in really every field, but definitely in sports. There's always that part, right? The yin and the yang, there's that part. So that's why I'm calling it this ecosystem. But what needed to happen, and this is where I think our podcast does fill one of those voids, you needed to have actual experts who understand the nuance of all the things that happen on the court, on the field, and as well as off, to kind of level set, to give this other, and the reality is a lot of the people that have been covering our sports, women's sports journalists, they don't get the platform, they don't get the opportunity. They've been held back just as much as the athlete. And so for us, we have a chance now to, again, like I said, be a part of that ecosystem and bring some balance, because it's been a wild, absolutely wild takes.
And Megan, some people wouldn't be able to work with their partner in this capacity, or frankly, any capacity.
I'm gonna be over here while she answers this.
What is it like to work together and to bring all of that creative spirit together?
It's really fun, to be honest. Like, we love talking about what we talk about. This is like what we talk about in our free time anyway, just the intersection of politics, equality, sports, women's sports. Like, when you talk about women's sports, you talk about everything in life, really. We're figuring it out. We've definitely brought it to couples thampy. We're like figuring out like what works, what doesn't, what our workflow is. Sue's a great producer, so I feel like I'm very thankful for that. But we bounce ideas off each other, and I think too we are figuring out like just when to put it down, when to put it away. Okay, we're done for the day, and we're doing other things. And right now, I feel like it's something that we really love, we really enjoy. Like, we didn't bring it back right away. I feel like this has kind of been, kicking around the brain and with our team for a number of years, and we kind of finally got to a place where like, let's just try this. Honestly, if we hate it, we'll just stop doing it and we'll just do something else. But for now, we love it. It's fun to be able to work together and be able to like share this space as we both move into a new, phase and transition into our life, both being retired. So. We're enjoying it.
It sounds like the opposite of hating it. It sounds like a fantastic team effort. You've had some big names, Mia Hamm, Dawn Staley. Who else are you looking at, and what is it like to be, interviewing these other incredible women in women's sports?
I love doing the interviews. It's really fun because you never know where the conversation is going to go. You never know what that person is going to bring, and then you can kind of maybe help them disarm a little bit, find something. I mean, when Megan interviewed and asked Mia Hamm questions, you could just see this connection between the two of you. That is what makes interviewing fun, right? That moment. I think for future guests, the WNBA and NWSL seasons are still going. So there's a lot of athletes that we want to have on the show, but they're still in season. So we're trying to we knew what that was like. So we're trying to be
not to bang their door down.
Yeah, we're like, could you do it? Okay, we'll wait. So we're trying to wait. So I think the amount of athletes in those two sports will kick up a little bit in the in what is their off season. But we want to have all kinds of people. We've become good friends with Tracy Ellis Ross. Here's somebody that she actually, her production company and my production company put out Power of the Dream, which was the story of the WNBA's advocacy in the bubble. So, that's somebody who, she's actually not a sports fan, which I love about her, but that's like adjacent to it. So we want to have people like that as well.
And you recently joined the ownership group of the Seattle Storm. What is that like to be on the other side of this sport?
It's actually great. Yeah, it's great. Not much has changed. I feel like I've been the Storm's #1 fan and have felt part of the ownership. Even when I was playing, I really felt ownership of the team, the culture of the team. So not much has changed. The weird part will be when the CBA negotiations happen. I was once on the players' side, and now I just have to keep my mouth shut.
Now you're on the management side.
No, I feel like all we ever have wanted is like a kumbaya with the owners and the players anyway. So I feel like I can provide kind of a bridge there. But it'll be a different, unique experience for me, for sure.
So final question for both of you. Megan, as you look to the future, what do you hope this next chapter will bring? What is next for Megan Rapinoe?
Oh, gosh. Big question. I think just like the ability to do other things and like really like be creative in other ways. I think being in sports for so long is amazing. It's brought me this like incredible life for both of us, and you have to commit all your time to it, all your time, all your energy, like all your emotional energy. Like there's really one goal. So I'm kind of really open and loving the freedom and loving the ability to be creative in other ways and kind of figure out what I like. I'm loving the podcast. I'm loving being able to use all my experience that I had in my whole career in women's sports to talk about it in this moment that we were begging for. Our whole career is like the moment that we're in now, and that's like so cool, and we have such a unique experience to talk about that from. Maybe I'll do like pottery or something. I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, sky's the limit, but I'm enjoying living in New York for the first time. Being in a different phase of our relationship, also just both being retired and having that behind us, and continuing to like do all the important work too. Continuing to, you know, talk about racial justice and LGBTQ rights and trans rights and all of the thing. Like we still have this big platform, and I feel like I still have a lot to give there. And I think we're in a really interesting moment in the country. We're very much at an inflection point if we haven't already been there for a long time, and I'm looking forward to what I think the country really wants to move into. I think that's a much more progressive way of living. It's a much more inclusive way of living. It's a much healthier and happier way of living. So I'm fingers crossed, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that phase of not only my life, but America.
Yeah.
Sue, what's next for you?
I think a lot of my playing career had to do with, I didn't know it in the moment, but setting up, I already mentioned a blueprint on some level, like what it is to be a professional athlete in this country, and like what it was to be a women's basketball player in this country, and how to make a living and how to make that work and how to make it fit. And I feel like a lot of younger athletes, they've said it to me, which is so rewarding, like, oh, when I saw you do X, I tried that. When I saw you do Y, and that helped me figure my life out in this world. I'm actually seeing that that's similar, or a little bit of an extension into retirement, right? Like we were very fortunate to have the careers we had, and to be quite honest, make the money that we made. And that has now allowed us different opportunities in retirement that didn't exist for a lot of athletes my age when they retired, right? For a lot of athletes that came before me when they retired. So now, if an athlete was interested, if a retired athlete wanted to get into media, they can now look to us. They can look to me and see like, oh, this is a pathway. And I just feel really proud. I feel like I thrive in that role of almost like a pay it forward type of a thing. And I want to help the younger generations continue to be able to quote unquote see it and be it. And now I'm finding it in retirement. So I feel like that'll just continue to happen for me.
Well, good luck to you both on the podcast, and thank you so much for and everything. Thank you for taking time for this conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's fantastic.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.